Hey everyone! Today we're going to tackle one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, sometimes confusing hooks in React, useEffect. So let's dive right in and finally crack the code on this thing. So have you ever been coding, building a new component, and you just think to yourself, I really need to run some code, like the very second this thing loads, maybe to fetch some data or start a timer? If that sounds familiar, well, you are in exactly the right place. Now, before we jump in, we got to talk about this thing called a side effect. I know it sounds a little technical, right? But trust me, it's super simple. A side effect is basically anything your component does that isn't just drawing stuff on the screen. We're talking fetching data from a server, setting up a subscription, even just changing the title of the web page. It's all that important stuff that happens kind of on the side. Okay, so how do we actually manage all these side effects in React? Well, that's where useEffect comes into play. And here's the deal. If you just remember this one core idea, you're going to totally get it. Ready for it? The one thing you need to burn into your brain is this. useEffect just means run code when things change. That's it. That's the whole game. Whether your component just popped onto the screen for the first time or a piece of data just got updated, useEffect is your tool for reacting to it. So what does that actually look like in practice? It's basically a little three-step dance. First, your component renders, and boom, it's on the screen. Then, right after that happens, React taps useEffect on the shoulder and says, hey, time to check your watch list. If anything on that list has changed, or if it's the very first time, then step 3 kicks in. Your side effect code runs. Simple as that. Okay, theory's cool and all, but let's see this thing in the wild. We're going to look at a couple of real-world examples you'll probably code, like, tomorrow. First up, the absolute classic, the one you'll see everywhere, fetching data from an API. Let's imagine you're building a profile page for a user. You obviously need to get their info from some server, right? So your component pops up on the screen for the very first time. You've got the title, you've got the layout all set up, but where's the user's name? It's just blank. It's like a skeleton just waiting for the actual information to arrive. And this is where the magic happens. The very instant that component shows up, React sees that as a change. I mean, it went from not existing to existing. So uEffect springs into action. It runs your code, shooting off that API request to the server to go grab the user's data. A moment later, the server sends back the data. Your component gets it, it updates its state, which triggers a quick re-render, and bam, the user's information just pops right onto the screen. Mission accomplished. But wait. It's not just for fetching data one time. What if you need something to happen over and over again? Like, say, a ticking clock that updates every single second? Yep, useEffect is your go-to for that too. You can use it to set up a timer that just runs in the background. Okay, this next part is maybe the most important bit. The real power of useEffect is that you are in complete control. You get to be the boss and tell useEffect exactly when it should run its code. And how do you get this control? Through something called the dependency array. Think of it like a watch list. If you give it an empty list, just those empty square brackets, you're telling React, hey, I'm not watching for any changes. Just run this code once when the component first shows up, and that's it. Perfect for fetching our user data, right? But if you put something inside that list, like maybe a user ID, you're telling React, keep an eye on this user ID, run the code the first time, and run it again anytime that ID changes. This is how you build incredibly dynamic stuff. It's a total game changer. All right, let's nail this down with a quick recap. 1, useEffect is for all that side work, like API calls and timers. 2, it always runs after your component is on the screen. And 3, the big one, its whole job is to run code when things change. And you control the when with that dependency array. And you know, that's really the heart of it. useEffect isn't some scary, complicated hook to be afraid of. It's a super powerful tool that lets you orchestrate exactly what your component does and when. It puts you in control. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. As you go back to your projects, what's the first side effect you're going to build or maybe refactor with this new clarity? Thanks so much for tuning in.